Well, it's an honor and privilege to be here. It's an amazing turnout. I couldn't believe when I was told how many people were going to be here tonight, and it's an honor to be in the lineup of coaches that are speaking here tonight. I felt very comfortable as I drove up here tonight. You see, I come from a small northwest Pennsylvania town growing up in Girard, Pennsylvania, right off Lake Erie. And some of my vivid memories growing up were strawberry picking with my grandparents and my parents, and pumpkin patch, and we grew up next to a lot of grape vineyards, so very comfortable driving up here and felt right at home. You see, probably my best basketball memory as a player was a game in high school when my Girard High School team beat the Northeast Grape Pickers. So if you think I'm lying about vineyards, my best game, a game against the Grape Pickers, so I feel really at home tonight. And I continued to feel at home as I got interviewed and started to meet people here tonight, and then my ball went for $90 and Coach Crean's went for $1,000. I want to know where they're going to dinner. I think I needed to add dinner as part of mine, maybe it would have gone up. But I'm very, very excited. Like Fred Glass mentioned, this is a dream job for me, and I think it's been well documented since I took over that we had something very, very special going at Bowling Green. We had won 8 straight regular season. One wasn't outright, so Don's right. We won 7 of the last 8 outright regular season titles. And I had a visionary AD during the stretch of the run of championships that sat down with me and said, "You earn the right to add a clause in your contract," and he called it a dream school clause. And we sat down, and he was a former Big Ten athletic director, and he knew how much I revered the Big Ten and dreamed one day of having that opportunity to coach in the Big Ten. And so we sat down and we formed a dream school clause, and Indiana was on that dream school clause. Because you see, I take you back to my hometown of Girard, Pennsylvania. I always affectionately referred to my hometown as I grew up in a Hoosier town. And I didn't even understand exactly why I said that for years and years. And as I look back on it now, I guess I said that and defined my hometown in northwest Pennsylvania as a Hoosier town because our town was crazy for basketball. Just absolutely crazy for basketball. We had developed 3rd and 4th grade leagues in the early 70s before normal communities, or at least in Pennsylvania, had formed leagues in 3rd and 4th grade. We had very competitive leagues, 3rd and 4th grade and 5th and 6th grade. And by the time we got to 7th grade basketball, when most of the communities around us started playing, our community had been playing together for over 4 years in competitive environments with great coaches. And I always referred to it as a Hoosier town because of that crazed basketball fans that we had in our hometown. We had more bars in our hometown than streetlights, trust me. But we had one main drag out of Girard, Pennsylvania. And on a Friday night when we played boys basketball games and we would go to our games, you could see signs on the way out of the town that read, "Last one out, turn out the lights," because the entire town followed us to road games or home games, and it was just a special, special place for a basketball and growing up being a basketball player with great coaches. Well, I guess I referred it to a Hoosier town because my perception of Indiana at the time was that every single kid in the state grew up with a basketball hoop in their driveway, in their barn, or at least at the end of the street at the local park. And just always believed that there was no better place in the state of Indiana for basketball. That's where it was. And so when now I reflect back, and I sat with my athletic director at Bowling Green at the time and put the Dream School clause in, Indiana was on that clause. So fast forward to the end of the season, and we've had a lot of success, but we were a very young team at Bowling Green, so we were looking forward to the future at Bowling Green and trying to prepare for our 9th straight championship and another run to the Sweet 16 and beyond, which we had at Bowling Green while I was there. And I have twin boys that are going to be rising seniors, and I sat down with the family and we said, this is the off season that we don't want called. We do not want to move. The boys are seniors. We have a young team coming back. It should be another championship, stellar year. We don't want anyone to call. Fred called. Fred called and said, would you jump on a plane and meet me in Atlanta? And I looked at my family and said, we're going. And so after not wanting called this offseason, it was a dream come true because Indiana did reach out. And fast forward, I'm very, very honored and privileged to be the new women's basketball coach. We have a vision, a belief. Why not Indiana? Indiana has unbelievable world-class academics, outstanding facilities, and when I walked on campus with the athletic directors and they started showing me around campus, the beauty of campus just overwhelmed me, and I said, this place is a national champion. This place is a dream job. And so I'm really, really excited to be a part and start our tenure here in the rebuilding process with the women's team. It's not often that you get to reflect because you have so much going on. And when you take over a program, you're hiring a staff, you're recruiting, you're trying to figure out what games are needed left to schedule. And I fortunately inherited a pretty full schedule, but there's a lot of moving parts and you don't get to really sit back and ever reflect. It's just move on, move on, move on. And as the nature of recruiting is now, you're recruiting ninth and eighth graders, and it just gets younger and younger. And so there's not a lot of time to reflect back. But I had someone call me up and said as my buddy from my hometown said, you made it to the big time now. And I really didn't think about that much until I looked around while I was on the phone with him, and I hung up. And I looked around, and the thing that finally made me realize that maybe I made it to the big time is my office actually has a bathroom in it. And so I was like, wow, I have my own private bathroom. And I just said it to myself, didn't think much about it, and I was fortunate that that week, 2 of my assistants from Bowling Green decided to join me. And I've been very fortunate. Our staff had been together I had 2 assistants with me 11 years and my other assistant with me 10 years. Only 1 staff in the country out of 350 Division I programs had been together longer than our staff. And so I was very fortunate that 2 of them followed me to Indiana. And the first day on the job, one of those assistants walked in my office and looked around and said, wow, you know you've made it to the big time when you have your own bathroom in your office. And I laughed and I chuckled and I said, yeah, it's just not a bathroom. I mean, when you walk in there, we can almost fit every one of you in there. It's unbelievable. And it has a shower and a bathroom, it's the real deal. And so I thought the same thing. Well, the day continued, and you got to understand my assistant coach. He hydrates better than anyone I've ever known. And the 5th time later that day that he walked into my office without saying hi to me any longer, while I was on the phone with one of the best recruits in the country, and he walked into my bathroom, and I heard the toilet flush while I was talking to the best recruit in the country, I wondered, did I make it big time or did we make it big time? So much for thinking I made it big time because he seems to use my bathroom more than I do. But it is really, it's absolutely, you have to pinch yourself to believe that you're at Indiana and a basketball coach. Not long ago, we brought the Bowling Green team over to Indiana for their in-season tournament. And the day of the championship game against Indiana, we had a shoot-around in the morning. When the shoot-around ended and the players were changing to go back out to the bus, our coaching staff ran around Assembly Hall while our media relations director just took pictures of us diving on the floor and pictures with the scoreboard in the background, and we were running all over the floor, and I had to try to pick up a chair and act like I was throwing it. And so we took all these pictures together, and our players on the sideline who were changing out of their clothes and putting different shoes on looked at us and said, what's the big deal? Like we play all over the country. You guys are acting different than you've ever acted before. And we looked at him and said, you don't get it. Do you understand who's coached here? Do you understand who's played here? And so I've always had a special place in my heart for Indiana, and fortunately we went on and won that tournament later that day, and sent that coach that was here at the time up to Purdue. So we'll get her again. I've always had great respect for what Indiana basketball is all about. So you have to pinch yourself that I'm in this position now, but. The vision is simple. We're going to do it the right way, and we're going to do it with great character people. I'm not going to cut corners. We're not going to take shortcuts. We're committed with a firm philosophy that championships are won in the locker room. And that means we're going to fill that locker room up with great character kids that compete in the classroom, that represent IU 24/7, and want to get involved with community service. And we're not taking any shortcuts. And so I ask for your patience as we build this program, but we're going to do it the right way with great people. I can walk across Cook Hall 15 feet and see the blueprint that was in place and know that he did it the right way, and filled that locker room up with great character people himself, and we're going to do it the same way. We're excited about the potential. We're excited about the buzz around the state. We're excited about our start, but it's going to take a rebuilding process. But we feel very, very confident that Indiana women's basketball is a sleeping giant. I believe one of the key components of building a championship program is protecting home court, and this room is going to be an important part of that. I really encourage you to come up and support us and be in the stands. What made us special at Bowling Green was the ability to win home games, and we were 60-4 in our last 64 home games at Bowling Green, and that's the culture that we want to begin at Indiana during our tenure, and protect home court and protect Assembly Hall, and that's only going to happen with great crowds and great excitement for the women's program. So again, it's an honor to be here tonight. I promise our ball will go for more next year when we're down here. Please come out and support. A lot of great things happen at IU, and it's absolutely my dream and an honor to be your IU women's basketball coach. Thank you.